Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on Unchockable, and we've got longtime fools Toby Bordelon and Rick Munarriz giving a 1 to 10 rating to a top 200 stock in the Hidden Gems database. It's Seagate Technology, ticker symbol STX. Rate the strength of the business first, including factors like industry and competition. A 10 is invincible, a 1 is hopeless. Toby's at a 7, Rick, you're at a 6.
Yeah, so if you grew up when I did, you were lucky enough to have a PC. It came with a hard disk drive, and that brick of storage capacity was made by either Seagate or Western Digital. Those two companies still lead that market, but storage solutions have obviously changed, and Seagate has changed with it. It's also now a major player in solid-state drives and enterprise storage solutions. This is a cyclical business. Annual revenue growth has been negative in half of Seagate's last 10 fiscal years, so I went with a conservative 6.
Yeah, 7 for me. Seagate is one part of a duopoly in this part of the market. Western Digital, as Rick noted, the other one. Now, one benefit of being one player in a duopoly is you probably have a floor on your business. That's the case here, I think. The other player just doesn't have the capacity to meet all the demand. So if you screw up badly, you're still going to get some business by default. See Boeing as an example of how that plays out in real life. But the reason we're in a duopoly in the first place is probably no one else sees a ton of value in the business. And that can be the downside. There are limits to pricing power on what they're doing. You've also got competition from newer technologies like the solid state drives. Seagate competes there, as Rick noted, but there's a lot of other players too coming into that. They're benefiting from the data center surge right now, but there is some cyclicality to this business.
For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Toby's at an 8, Rick, you're at a 9.
Yeah, so CEO Dave Mosley is a Seagate lifer. He started at the company 30 years ago, fresh after getting his PhD in solid-state physics. He was in leadership roles all across the company before landing as CEO in 2017. It's worth noting that while he wasn't elected to the Seagate board until just last year, and he's now the chairman, he was brought into the boardroom of Cirrus Logic a year earlier, a good sign that he's respected in the tech community. A 99% Glassdoor approval rating, that's love right there.
Yeah, Mr. Mosley's been great. You love to see a person who rises to the ranks to take the top job. High approval ratings are fantastic. The execution expertise from this team at steering this business through that industry cyclicality has really been solid. Beat expectations last quarter. I love the discipline in what they're doing and focus on really what matters. For instance, the density of the storage rather than just trying to pump out more units, right? Ultimately, that leads you to higher margins. So that's been a great approach to take.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Both of you have 7s, Rick.
Yeah, so this will be a coin flip year for Seagate, as it always is when half-year years are positive and half-years are negative. This year's going to be a positive year. Revenue moving higher. Revenue rose 20% through the first half of fiscal 2026, and the bottom line is growing even faster. Momentum is on its side and has beaten Wall Street profit targets consistently over the past year. I gave it a 7.
Yeah, same for me. Lots of momentum here. Good margins, nice revenue growth, strong cash flow. Lots of cash on hand. They're improving the balance sheet too. They paid down some debt recently while keeping that nice dividend going, which is what you want to do in a cyclical industry in the good times. Solid financial management. That's a bit high. I'd watch that, but again, they are doing a good job managing that, so that's good.
All right, Toby, let's move on to valuation. How well will Seagate stocked over the next 5 years, and how safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
10 to 15% for me. Again, lower end of that probably. They have surged recently. But they can keep growing if the data center boom keeps paying out. Safety score of 5 because that if the data center boom keeps going part is a big part of the issue. I don't know where they make up the revenue if that starts to falter, at least in the short term. Right now, they almost look like a one-trick pony in terms of data center. They're not, but that's where all the growth is, right? That's a little bit concerning in terms of valuation.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 5 to 10% annualized 5-year growth. I would go higher, but rival Western Digital is growing faster these days just by trading at a similar year-ahead earnings multiple in the low 20s. On the safety front, I went with a 5. Knowing that revenue has declined in half of the past years over the past decade, and Seagate's leveraged balance sheet keeps my enthusiasm in check. I give Seagate a C grade of 5.
Thank you to both Rick and Toby. They've given Seagate a decent overall score of 6.7 out of 10. For top hits, both Rick and Toby prefer its competitor, Western Digital. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Capital One. Till then, Fool on. I fully expect one day to kind of see like a really bad, like Blue and Maze over top of it. I would laugh if it happened.